Who's that?
Ella, please, nobody can come inside, please. I'm waiting. Hi, everyone. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello, everyone. I can't hear anybody. Okay, fantastic. Tolu is here. Hi, Tolu. Oh my goodness.
Hello,
Hi, guys. Good evening. I need to plug this in. Okay, so I'm just going to give people like maybe 3 minutes so that they come in and then we'll just start. Everybody, please put your phones on mute so that we're not, going in and out of different sounds. I'm very excited about today. I haven't done a session in a long time. So I'm very excited about today. Mainly Anu has been managing everything. Okay, I see people coming. So once I see we're 10, I'll just start. I should have had some music playing in the background so that you guys won't be too bored. Okay, one more person has entered the building. Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. My name is Durosinmi-Etti, like you all know, obviously. I'm the founder of AGS Tribe. AGS Tribe is a platform. Sorry, hold on, please. Sorry, as I was saying, AGS Tribe is a platform that connects women to each other and to opportunities. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And the reason why I decided to do this is because I realized how many times people have to apply. Even I myself, I had to literally apply about 3 times before I actually got in. So I know that it's very difficult, it's very competitive, but it's an amazing platform to be a part of and just to meet other amazing like entrepreneurs or policymakers, just literally young leaders doing amazing things all over the world. So, well, all across Africa, but you meet, people all over the world. So I'm just going to dive into it, and I'm hoping that everybody, like you guys can drop your questions, and I hope that we can make it as interactive as possible. I want to quickly go through the questions that are in the application form and just generally talk to you guys about the whole Mandela Washington process. My time on my own fellowship was a bit different because mine was virtual because of COVID-19 and everything, but the experience was spectacular. We met so many amazing people. My institute was amazing. So I'll just talk through, the process, what Mandela Washington Fellowship is all about, and then we can go into the question and answer. And then if you guys have questions for me, just put it in the comment section. And then when I'm done, I'll just look through everything and just try to answer to the best of my ability. So What's the Mandela Washington Fellowship? The Mandela Washington Fellowship, or I like to call it MWF because it's just a mouthful, is a program that was launched by the US government and the US government. When Barack Obama started, when he became president, he decided to launch a program for young African leaders, people who the American government could invest in, people who they thought were the leaders of tomorrow. And I'm sure you guys know that America is very, very interested in whatever is going on in Africa. So they want to plug into the people who they know that within the next few years or next generation, pretty much, they know that they have access to these people because they've been part of one of their programs. And it's not only Mandela Washington program that exists, there are different programs that exist with the American consulates, all the things that they do. They have the IVLP. There are different paths that you can use to have access to the US consulates, but they're very, very interested in Africa. So they do these little programs or these little buckets of programs so that they know that they have access to these people. What are the criteria for joining, or what is the criteria? Firstly, you have to be between the ages of 25 to 35 before if you finish your application. You are not a US citizen. So if you're based if you're a US citizen, obviously you cannot apply. You are eligible to receive a US state J1 visa. I don't know much about visas, but I'm sure if whatever visa that you need or you require, you'd be able to, you'd understand that. But I don't need a visa to go into the US. So I don't really understand the tiers and all of that with visas, but it's important for people to know, whether they are eligible to apply or not based on their status. So if you have a Nigerian passport, you can just use that to apply. So I didn't use my British passport at all to apply. That would have just, thrown me off guard because British citizens are not eligible to apply. You don't have employees or immediate family members who are employees of the US state government. If you have that, you're not eligible to apply. Also, if you are one of citizens of the following countries, there are different countries that you guys can just literally look through, but I'm sure everybody here is from Nigeria, but we're going to share this video online. So if you're from the other countries as well based in Africa that they've listed, and if you're one of those countries, if you're in one of those countries, or if you're from one of those countries, then you're eligible to apply. So you can just watch or check the criteria online so that you can see the list of countries that are eligible. And I'll go through now the application timelines. So when it starts, so now it's open. The application opened on the 18th of August. It's ending on the 25th of September, on the 15th of September. From November to January, people who have been shortlisted will start receiving letters or emails that they'll be shortlisted. They'll go through like another interview stage and all of that. And then early March or sometime in March, you get an email to say whether you've been successful or not. If you don't hear anything between November and February, you kind of have an idea that you're most likely, maybe you have to try next year or something, but you would have heard from them by February at the most, at least to get, if you're successful, to the next stage. And then the fellowship starts early June next year in 2022. So when you start the application form, so now I'm delving into the application proper. So I don't know how many people here have filled out the application form. Just type in the box. Have you tried filling it out? You'd see that they ask you general questions, things like, your name and stuff like that. I'm not going to, that's just a waste of time if I'm going to go through all of that, but they'll ask you your name and all those regular details, if you have a passport, your contact information, they get all that information, your country of residence, they ask you all those things to see if you are eligible. Yeah, so somebody said she started filling it out, and I'm happy that some people here have already started filling it out, because as I'm talking through some of the questions, it will be easier for you to know if you're on the right track with your application already. But if you've not started it, or if you've not looked at it at all, it might be harder for you to grab, but just listen, don't worry. The replay will be put on our app, and then as a member of our community, you would have access. And like I said, we'll also share it online so that you can go back, and read it and just check it out or listen to it, sorry. So they'll ask you your demographic information. Do you identify as somebody living with disability? What I find is that with applications like these, if you're someone living with disability, you have a higher chance, because most of the time you don't really see people living with disability applying for applications like this. This is not to say that you should lie that you have a disability or something, but it's just one of the questions, that they ask. Then they ask you, what institute track do you want to go to? So because I'm an entrepreneur, I did the leadership in business track. There's leadership in civic engagement, and then there is leadership in public management. If you're like a business person, so I don't know if you guys know Kemi Onobanjo. She's a consultant. She works in McKinsey. I think at the time, maybe she was Ericsson or something. She got into this program in 2014. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur. A lot of people feel like all these scholarships and fellowships and stuff like that are only, valuable to entrepreneurs. Even if you're a 9-to-5er, even if you're a civil, like someone in the civil service or something like that, you can actually apply, as long as you know what you're contributing back to society. If you're a leader in your community, whatever volunteer work you do, all those things are valuable. And as we delve deeper and deeper into the application process, you see some parts where they'll ask you for some specific instances. And if you already have these experiences, then it's a much easier process when you're doing your application. So like I said, I applied for the leadership in business track, and it was absolutely fantastic for me. So they ask you about so now we're delving now into the application proper, the personal, so they title it the personal statement. This is where you have to speak all the English in this life. Like, and not just speaking English, you have to back it up with facts. So the first question that you see is, please give a brief description of any major professional accomplishments within the last year and your long-term goals and aspirations. Why have you chosen this work? That's the question. Here, how I would typically respond, and this is how I've also helped other people in their application process, because I help people review the applications, just talk about your expertise and talk about all the things that you already do, and you have to say it with confidence. So for example, I would say, I am a sales and marketing expert with over 12 years experience in fashion manufacturing and blah, blah, blah. I launched AGS Tribes to democratize opportunities for female entrepreneurs in Africa through funding, mentorship, and stuff like that. I have chosen this work. So you have to be very intentional about how you are wording your responses, so that you are sure that you are linking your responses to the questions that they've asked you. So you say something like, oh, I have chosen this work because I'm passionate about blah, 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 whatever track, whatever thing you're passionate about. And I'm passionate about contributing to national development. You can also talk about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, how you're passionate about contributing towards that, because you know that these issues are really important issues that are going on, globally. And if you've won any awards, it's important to list it here. If you've written a book too, even if it's an ebook, it's important to list it here, because a lot of people don't have that experience and they're looking for exceptional leaders. So just talk about some of the things that can set you apart. Nobody's going to ask you, oh, where's the book that you wrote? Don't lie as well. But I'm just saying, these are some of the things that I, spoke about during my own session or during my own application. And I think those are things that set me apart, because when I went to the interview, they kept on asking me, oh, so how was this? Oh, so how was that? But today I'm not talking about the interview process. Obviously, it's important for you to first scale, the first stage, which is the application process. And it's extremely competitive. Like, they literally get thousands and thousands of applications every year. So if you've won any awards, list it here, and ensure that you're talking about you're listing credible awards. So brands that they already know. And even if you've not gotten an award from a brand that is already known globally, you can still talk about it. In 2019 or maybe 2018, I applied and I scaled through the first stage. And the only award I had gotten then was from Bella Africana, and I scaled through. So it doesn't matter if your whoever has, given you any award or maybe even nominated you for something. It doesn't matter if they are maybe a small company or whatever. It depends on the way you say it with your full chest. So your confidence needs to come through when you're talking about this particular aspect. And here, I think they have limited words. I'm not really sure what the word count, if it's 100 or 200, but just check out the word count and just ensure that you stay within the limits of your word count. So, and I always tell people to respond on Microsoft Word first, so that at least you can see if you made any mistakes, because trust me, you feel like, oh, you're so intelligent, you cannot make mistakes and everything. At least Microsoft Word will bring us all the errors, whether it's spelling errors, whether it's typographical errors, it brings everything out, whether it's disjointed sentences. You know, I saw one of my application forms that I had submitted, and I saw that I had mixed up, you know, when you're doing maybe copy and paste from under to the top, and I mixed it up, and that's not a good look. So you have to read through your application first on Word before you now move it to the portal. And the dangerous thing about applying straight on the portal is that your system can crash. Your system can, just, freeze, and you lose all the words that, you've already written. And trust me, this is the most frustrating thing to do. So the next question now, based on your understanding of your preferred track of study. So the preferred track of study, this is like whether it's civil engagements, whether it's leadership in business, or the last one. What skills and knowledge do you hope to gain from the fellowship that you will not be able to develop through other education or training? How will you use these skills and that knowledge to adapt your activities in your home country or your community within the next 3 to 5 years? When I respond to this question, you have to be very, very detailed, and you have to be very, very intentional about your responses. You cannot just say anything for saying sake. So there was a time that I think the first time I applied for this, they were asking me things like, oh, you already have an MBA. Why do you want to do this? Because the Mandela program is actually like a mini MBA. So they're confused, like, oh, so why do you want to do this? So I said, okay, I want to network with other young leaders. I want to do this, I want to do that. And that is the main reason why they actually do this program, is because of the networking. They need to see, and it's not just networking you can talk about. So in my own situation, I would say things like advanced negotiation, like I want to learn advanced negotiation skills, or project management, strategy skills, just to bamboozle them. Do you understand? Like, say all these things with your full chest, and make sure that you tailor it in a way that is not sounding like the normal thing that every other person will say. A lot of people will say, oh, I want to network and I want to do all those kind of things. So let your network, you can talk about networking because it's very important and they want to see that in your application, but push it down in this particular response, push it down, but talk about specific skills like advanced negotiation. How many people think about advanced negotiation skills? So they'll be like, this person, she's really specific and intentional about what she wants to come and learn in this program. Things like that, they'll think about it. And also because the program, gives you like a fresh perspective on global issues and stuff like that. You can leverage the resources in the US to come and, and always talk about how you're going to bring back that information back to Nigeria, because a lot of people want to run away and they know. Can you mute yourselves, please? A lot of people want to run away and they know. Sorry, let me just mute the person. I can't really focus. Okay, I think she's muted herself. So when you talk about all these things anyway, you have to be very intentional with your responses and ensure that you're saying you're bringing back that information to Nigeria. So remember the last line, right? They said, how are you going to use these skills in your home country within the next 3 to 5 years? So for me, for example, I already have a community and I was applying with my community name. So I said, I'm going to expand the community, it's going to create a ripple effect of, maybe 50,000 people being empowered, because right now I've already maybe empowered maybe 10,000 people. You just have to be able to show that whatever they're going to teach you is going to be impactful, and you're going to, scale it tremendously when you come back to Nigeria, whatever country that you're applying for. Next question, public and community service are essential. So remember when I was talking about volunteering and all of that, a lot of people don't have volunteering experience. So this is where, your volunteering experience, if you already have volunteering experience, works in the works. So public and community services, next question, are essential responsibilities for leaders. What communities do you most hope to reach and engage through your work? And how are you working towards this goal now? And what else do you hope to accomplish in the future? This one, you know, there are different communities all over the world, like that have already been sidelined, and a lot of people, look down on and stuff like that. So the Black community is one, the LGBTQ community is another. They're just different communities like that. So depending on your work, even women like women empowerment and all that, that's another community that you can talk about. You can talk about a specific kind of women, just different aspects of this thing, and those are the ones that I can think of at the top of my mind. Some people, it might not even be I don't want to say it might not be even human beings, because there are different things that you might even be interested in, but whatever you're interested in needs to come out here. And how are you going to leverage that, to leverage what they're going to teach you to scale? So how are you working on this goal now? So you need to talk about the numbers. How many people have you impacted? So some people I know, I've forgotten her name now, but she had like, Susty Vibes. I've forgotten her name now, but she still owns Susty Vibes, but she works somewhere now. When she was applying, I'm sure she would have said, she's passionate about climate change, community, sustainability, trees, and stuff like that. Those things are very, very important, because it's also contributing to sustainable development goals. Talk about the numbers, the people that you've already impacted now, and then obviously you're going to leverage that, whatever they're teaching you or whatever you're going to learn during the program, and you're going to, bring it back here. So it's important for you to talk about how you're already working on those things today. Not that you're going to go and learn it there and like fresh and bring it back. Obviously, you should have already been doing work. So talk about some of the volunteer work that you're doing. And I've said some people here can even say, you volunteer with AGS Tribe, you volunteer with other communities as well. It's important for you to have some sort of community service, not necessarily things that you're doing in your like regular 9-to-5 job. Tolu Shaban, you say you can't hear me. Can other people hear me? Just say yes or no, please. Can you guys hear me? Okay, you can. Okay, fantastic. So mainly focus on the communities that have been sidelined. And an easy way to do this is literally just Googling different communities so that everything comes to your mind. So different people, different marginalized communities, even Boko Haram, like people who stay in those, heavily vested Boko Haram states and stuff like that. A lot of people do work in IDP camps. Even if you're not going there physically, people send money there, people send, food and clothes and stuff like that. They contribute. All of those things really, really helps. And people globally, these issues are global issues. So if you have anybody who, or if you have any community that you think you are passionate about that calls you, there are people who have also been raped. Like there are different people, different communities, different issues that are going on globally. So pick one or two and talk about how you already work with these people and how you hope to engage or reach even more people through, this network. Next question now is, the Mandela Washington Fellowship values diversity, equity, and inclusion, and strives to reach diverse audiences through all programming. Provide a specific example of how you have committed yourself to these values in your professional and or personal life. I like to use the STAR principle to respond to questions like these. And further down, I'll explain the STAR principle because there's another question like this that is very similar. So the way I would answer this question is, first Google different leadership values, right? And pick the ones that are most like closest to you. Then think about a story where you've been able to imbibe these values and how these values showed forth and the results you got out of it. So I won't delve too much on this question because further down, I break down the STAR principle properly, and then it's easy for you to just use it to answer some of the different behavioral, questions. Another question. Okay, so this is even this is where I'm going to explain the STAR principle more, and it's very similar to the other question because they're still, talking about Nelson Mandela. So this question is, Nelson Mandela said, "Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." Strong leaders are able to effectively handle challenges. The COVID-19 global health pandemic has posed significant challenges, both globally and locally. Describe a specific instance when the pandemic or its repercussions posed a problem that helped you grow as a leader. What did you do, and how are you applying the lessons learned from this experience in your current work? So here is just better for you to use the STAR principle as well. Like for most behavioral questions, whether it's even the Mandela Washington Fellowship or any other fellowship or scholarship or whatever you're answering, the STAR principle helps you be spot on. So the STAR principle is like a structured manner of responding to behavioral interview questions by discussing the situation, the task, the action, and the result of the situation that you're describing. So that is what is STAR. So STAR. So situation, describe the situation that you were in or the task that you needed to accomplish. You may describe a specific event or situation, not a generalized description. So if I want to take, let's say the COVID-19 pandemic, for example, can somebody give me an example of something that happened during this pandemic that they were able to learn from? Something that had to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. Just give me a simple example of something that happened during this period that you were able to learn from and grow from. The lockdown of school, exactly. Okay, so let's take the lockdown of school. So let's say you had, the situation is, okay, the COVID-19 pandemic was extremely, obviously it was damaging. Everybody understood what was going on all across the world, but you had two young kids, and at the time they were about to get into, so if I use my own situation, they're about to get into primary school. So at that point in time, you didn't want to, expose your kids. In fact, schools had even shut down. Then you now had to, you're also working as you're a working mom or something like that, but you still had to take out time to go through, to learn how to teach your children. So you learned a new skill, for example. So you started teaching your children or homeschooling your children. You put out you came up with a timetable that, was okay for you and your children so that both of you could thrive. So the task, so that's the situation. You've described the COVID-19 pandemic. You now take the task. What goal were you working towards? Your goal is that your children should not be lagging behind in school by the time they get back into real school. The action, the goal you're trying to do is that they should not lag behind. So the action you now took as a mother was to now divide your timetable to say between so and so time, you did this. You also maybe got a home teacher or a home tutor, blah, blah, blah. And then that's action. Then the result was that, this is just a typical example. I didn't think about any example before. The results can now be like, oh, when your child now went to do her common entrance exam or her primary school exam, she got all A's, something like that, so she did not lag behind. And your school awarded you special mom of the year, something like that. That is a clear-cut example. It doesn't have to be with schools. It can be different things. It can be, I saw somebody wrote, economic downtimes. It might be that, okay, during this period, you had to shut down your office and everybody had to work from home. And as a result, everybody had to learn new skills in terms of like communicating and ensuring that the business continued, moving. You had to come up with, in fact, maybe you even had to come up with new products to suit and not lose money during the pandemic. So the goal was that you should not lose money during the pandemic because people were not more interested in maybe what you were selling at the time, because a lot of people lost their money, a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people were not earning as much because of the pandemic. The action you now took was to start creating face masks. Do you understand? To start selling face masks, to start creating your own sanitizers and everything. That's the action you took. And then the result was a 200% increase in your revenue just because you were able to innovate very, very quickly and all that. And as a result, maybe you got, awarded, I don't know, a contract with Lagos State or just something. You must have that result. And the result should not only be you that sees that, oh, this result is so fantastic. It will be good if you have another like recognized body to say, oh, okay. And the recognized body does not have to be anybody big. It can be your friend's company, and you just say, oh, you got awarded or listed as one of the people who contributed to Lagos State during the COVID. And Lagos State gave some people awards. So just different things like that. So I've given you guys 2 examples now. So that STAR principle is very, very important to quickly describe what you're talking about, especially because you are limited by word count. So you need to make sure that everything that you're saying is captured and the whole situation from situation to the result shows within that, one paragraph that you're going to be writing. So I hope that was clear. Another question. Nelson Mandela, obviously they love him. Nelson Mandela was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for working with leaders of the South African government to agree on a peaceful transition. People were trying to enter, so I'm admitting them. A peaceful transition to multi-party rule and an end to apartheid, demonstrating that leaders can achieve progress despite differing views or identities. Please explain a situation where you have worked with people from different backgrounds, identities, or perspectives and had to use your leadership skills to resolve a conflict or disagreement. What actions did you take and how did you encourage respectful discussion? This is so important. Because they believe that if you come to America and you're meeting with other people from different cultures, how are you going to behave? America is a free country, right? Everybody, you see everybody from anywhere. So that when you get there, you see people, maybe you see people who maybe have changed their gender and stuff. You're not like, why is this auntie doing like this? What kind of nonsense is that? Blah, blah, blah. You can't have those kind of sidelines. You can't make those kind of comments. You have to respect what everybody has decided to do with themselves, whatever their views are on every aspect. You have to show that you understand and respect people's views on everything. So here again, you can also use the STAR, or you should also use the STAR principle. So for example, I would say that I'm passionate about learning from different backgrounds and cultures, and I've been exposed to cultural diversity from a very young age. So for example, I would say because of my work, I can say I worked with different entrepreneurs across different countries, and I was recognized by, let's say, the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I can write that. So I can say I was recognized by another country. Everybody might not have that, but you can even say, one time I used my school, for example, I had to work with a team of different people, and I was the only Nigerian. I had different people on my team, and there was a time when, for example, in fact, I even had an example. There was a time when I went to One Young World, and we had 2 people, one person from Morocco and another person. Can you guys mute yourselves, please? So I had one person from Morocco and I had another person from Western Sahara. And if you know the history of Morocco and Western Sahara, they don't gel. So these are, I don't know if they are 2 different countries, but Morocco kind of colonized Western Sahara. So a lot of people had to flee from Western Sahara. They went through a lot. So this lady went through a lot. She lost her family. She had to flee to Spain. It was deep. So when we got into the program and she saw that there was another guy from Morocco, there was already tension in the room. This babe was ready to, fight for her rights. There was a time we were doing a presentation and we were talking about all the countries that were present, and they didn't mention Western Sahara. Started jumping from the crowd. No, you cannot take this from us. You cannot do this, cannot do that. And this lady was my roommate. So I had to work with her. And before then, I didn't know anything about Western Sahara and Morocco. I didn't know the issues. And it's so weird that I'm going to Morocco tomorrow. I didn't know about the issues between the 2 countries or cities or whatever. I didn't know anything like that. And it was just so beautiful to learn, because eventually we all had to work together and they sorted out their issues. If Western Sahara and Morocco had any issue, that doesn't mean me and you as individuals must have issues. So we're able to, so I always if I was to use that example, I would talk about that situation and see how we're able to, work through that program or project that we were working on. So we're putting a team of 5 and we had to work together. Even though I noticed tension and everything was building up and all of that, but we realized that we're first human before we're from, whatever countries we're from. So eventually both of them had to, settle their scores, and I had to talk to them individually. And eventually we received, an award, during that program. So everything does not have to lead to award. I'm just, I'm just saying, I'm just giving like a typical example, but it's always good to show success at the end of that kind of project. So if you listen properly, you hear specific things that could have led to conflict, like real conflict that we're able to scale through and eventually. So when you say that kind of story, they will know that you're not lying. They will know that you lived it, and you've actually experienced, working with people from different cultures, and there was almost a conflict, but you were able to work through whatever conflict and eventually agree, or you can agree to disagree, but in a respectful manner. So the next question is your optional professional development experience. So some people had the opportunity, but this year, because we're not in America, we didn't go. Sorry, can you guys mute yourselves? Okay, because we didn't go to America, so the professional development thing didn't really work with us. But it's an amazing opportunity because you have the opportunity to go and work in a company in America for an additional 6 weeks. So they'll ask you, what are your goals? You don't have to fill it out here. If you don't want to, if you don't have time to stay for 3 months outside of the country or leave your job or your business, then it's not compulsory. But I always say it's good to show them that you're gingered all the way. So whether or not you're interested, it's not everybody that will be selected. I think they pick just a handful, maybe 10% of people who come for the program. Then those 10% people get opportunity to work with a company in the US, and most of the time they're always like Fortune 500 companies. So what are your goals? This is the question. What are your goals for the professional development experience, including the specific skills and knowledge you hope to gain? How would you apply an experience working in the US or working in a US organization to your work after returning to your home country? Can you see that these people, they are always bringing it back to your home country, bringing it back so that you remember that you're not staying in America. So whatever you're doing, you're coming back. So what you would say, or how you should respond to this kind of question, is talk about the mutual benefits between the US and Africa. So we can say the fellowship provides, mutual benefits between the two, countries, and it would ensure or enhance, future collaboration. Once you start meeting business experts or experts in the US, you can leverage some of the business models there and, come and replicate, or even, come up with something here that can fit, Nigeria or whatever African country that you're applying from. So you can talk about, some of the best practices of different that are based in the US, how you're going to, bring all those things back to Nigeria or Africa. Sorry, I always forget that. I don't have just a Nigerian audience. So those are the main questions. So before, when you continue, they're just asking you about, your professional and training certifications. You have to upload your CV. You have to, they just ask you other questions that, you should already have. If you volunteered already with other companies, you have to list where you volunteered before. So they ask you, like, what is your community and volunteer work? List them. So I had, British Red Cross example. I had RSPCA example. I also volunteer with people here. I volunteer with Global Shapers. So I had different examples showing volunteer work. So you know that I'm passionate about serving. You need to show that you are passionate about serving people, because before you can lead, obviously you have to be able to serve. So yeah, so those are the main questions that are in the Mandela Fellowship. The other things cannot necessarily change. Your CV is already your CV. Obviously, make your CV lit. Your school is your school. You cannot lie about the school that you went to, things like that. So you have to upload all that information onto the system, and you're good. So now, do you have any questions for me? I'm happy to answer them as we go. Let me just go to the chat box. Fantastic. Someone said they had to get radio for kids who couldn't access the internet. Fantastic. Okay, so do you guys have any questions for me? Nobody's saying anything. I know you people will be coming to my DMs later to say, if this, that. Just ask the question now. And then if you don't have, that's fine as well. I'm happy I've gone through most of the questions, and I think you guys have, all it takes to top. I hope a lot of people on this call will be selected so that we can celebrate with you. Okay, someone is saying, what if you had little volunteer experience and community service? It doesn't matter, put it down. It doesn't matter, you just have to have 1 or 2. You don't have to have a list of 10. So, and even I had more than 2, but I think I only put down 2. So it doesn't honestly matter. It's just important for you to have volunteer service, volunteer experience. Someone is saying, when you are filling your school and work, it asks for description 100 words. How much detail is required? I went through this already. You have to put in a lot of information, so you have to choose your words wisely. If you want to say something short, some people, they will go around the bush and they'll start talking about their family tree and all those things. Don't do that. Don't do it. Just go straight into it. And if you watch this replay, I don't know, look at it, I'm not sure if you were here from the beginning, but I already spoke about word count and all those things. If you answer intentionally, you'll be able to fit in all the information that into that 100 words. Chima is saying, am I reviewing applications? Yes, we can speak privately about that. Please, do we have to have a master's to apply? No. In fact, I think that was what disqualified me the first time, because they were like, because I got through the first stage, which is the application process. And then during the interview, they're like, so they don't really understand why I want to go for this program, because I already had an MBA. So sometimes it's just good to be honest. You don't have to have master's degrees. I think it's even better if you don't have, but it doesn't matter. They don't discriminate whether you have, whether you don't have. It honestly doesn't matter, because I still got in and I have an MBA and I even have even more experience now, but I still got in, so it doesn't matter. Work experience, does this increase your chances? Obviously, the better experience that you have, like people that have worked in credible organizations, all those things, it might add something, but it just depends on how you word your responses and the experience that you actually have. Because guess what? I've noticed that a lot of people who even live in like remote cities and stuff like that, they also get in, and those people don't have a lot of experience with like the Ivy Leagues and all of that. So it doesn't really matter. What are visa details? It's sponsored by the US government. So they help you, they sort you out, they give you your visa and everything. Obviously, you have to have a passport. So, and it's one of the things that they ask you where you're applying, that you should have a passport. So if you don't have a passport, just go and apply. These kind of things, you have to be prepared. Opportunity is not just going to fall on your laps. You have to be prepared as well to receive. So if you don't have a passport, I'm sorry, you're not ready for international opportunities. How long is fellowship? It's 6 weeks. And then if you want the additional professional development opportunity, that's an additional 6 weeks. Someone is saying, I have several experience with NGOs, volunteer work and work experience. Yes, you can cite them, but just make sure you cite them professionally. You can choose the most important if it's just too long. Yeah. So someone is saying, did you say having an employer in the US can disqualify someone, please? No, it's if you have an immediate family member that works for the US government. Not that. It's not a general, it's not that, if you are working for a company in the US, no. So Sandra is saying, is the 6 weeks during summer? Yes. So I already put it, I already spoke about the timeline so it's starting early June next year in 2022. So yes. And can I do the fellowship while I stay at my workplace? It depends on where you're working. It's not virtual, it's physical. But I would say apply. You never know what will happen next year. Next year, they might say it's virtual. Next year, they might say it's physical. But I think you should think more about the experience and the learning process of the program, as opposed to thinking of how you can combine it with work. Even your office will be excited for you if you get in. Any more questions? You guys can come on. I can have a conversation with you. Because like everybody is shy here. Nobody wants to talk.
I have a question.
Thank you. Thanks for speaking.
Yeah, so I don't
Let's
know.
see your face now. I want it to be interactive.
No. Okay, let me show you my face.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my
Fantastic.
face?
Hi. Yes, I can.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so
Hi.
I have a question. Yeah, so let's say for instance, I'm not residing in Nigeria and you keep talking about going to your home country,
Mm-hmm.
so is it possible for me to still apply?
Where are you based?
Netherlands.
Yeah, I think you can still apply, but you have to apply as if you are in Nigeria.
Oh,
Yeah. So you're a Nigerian citizen, right?
yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So you
Okay.
can apply as if you're in Nigeria because the work you're going to be doing is going to be in Nigeria, an African country. So it's
Okay.
important. You can't put an address that you're in the Netherlands. You'll just be like they'll even be confused.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Okay, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Can we see your face?
The NEPA has done their thing, so is that I'm outside, so no problem.
Okay, that's
Let me
fine.
try.
But well done on still logging on, even though NEPA decided to do you strong thing. So we can see you now. Hi.
Hi.
Hope the
Okay,
session
thank
was
you.
useful.
Yeah, it was. In fact, I've had several sessions, but yours was just different and
Thank you.
relatable. It's something I can really came down to our level. Okay, my question is this about first I want you to talk more about the PDE. Then second, the aspect where they were asking for some professional qualifications. For someone who doesn't have much, but there are times where I've been recommended by my employers, gotten commendation letter here or there. Can I cite all those instances for the places where
So
they
you
ask
don't
for
have
this?
to have certification. So I didn't have any certification apart from my school. So you don't have to have certifications. Like they're not bougie like that. If you even see the people that go, these are people that are doing really good work in remote cities. So those people don't even have like all these bougie certificates and stuff like that. So focus on you, what you're doing. Make sure it's good work. Make sure you apply professionally. The way you're responding to questions are really good. And I think the sky is the limit. So, and your recommendation letter, I didn't talk about it, sorry, needs to be excellent. Like two of my friends gave me recommendations, and it was even when I was reading it, I was literally crying. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think, this person thought about me like this. So those things, people actually, sorry, can you guys mute yourselves? Okay, so they actually read these things. So you need to be very, very intentional about who you tell to do your recommendation. If you can even help them, if you can help them write it, just so that as you can write it together, it's always better if it's coming straight from the person's heart and everything, so that you know what the person, and you can also guide them that, okay, these are the kind of things that they would like to see and stuff like that, in terms of like showing that you have good leadership skills, you've been pushing, entrepreneurial skills if you're an entrepreneur. If you're someone who has done a lot of civic work and stuff like that, they need to highlight it, give instances. They can also use the STAR principle and stuff like that. Give instances where you have excelled at some of the things that you've done, and they would love it. And also let the person be working in a credible organization, and if possible, they should do it on a letterhead. So even if it's their company, it should be on the letterhead. Don't just put it on like a regular PDF. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
No
for
worries.
taking your time. I must mention this that one of your mentees is actually Miriam Balogun Monisola.
Oh, okay.
So she mentioned you to me. So since then I've been following you and you're doing a great work.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No worries. I can see that you're using her her handle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I can see her name.
she's on my neck. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. No
Yeah,
worries.
take
Thank
care.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any more questions? It's almost 9, so that we can call it a day and I can go and pack for Morocco. Okay. Someone saying, what about accommodation, feeding, and everything? Girl, that means you've not done your research. Everything is paid for. So don't worry about that. If you get in, you're sorted. They even give you like money to hold and stuff like that. So you're fine. Any other questions? This was really quick, actually. I'm excited. Thank you, Kiva. I hope you guys get in. I'll be very, very excited if you guys get in. Don't just say thank you and don't go and apply. Apply, get somebody else to also look at it. It is important. Don't think that, oh, you're an ethical, or they'll steal your work, or they'll laugh at you. Let people look at what you're writing, and then it's easier. Thank you, Missy.
Hello. Hi, Isa.
Thank you. Hi. Let's see your face now. See the fine DP. You don't want us to see your face.
I don't look anything like this DP now, but let's give it a try.
It's okay. It's okay. We understand.
Yeah.
Hi. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Hello.
Yes, so hi. So I started applying already, and I was just really stuck at this, personal statement area because I don't feel like I have so much experience. But I mean, I already cited, that which I have. But this last question is the one that I'm not sure I have so much experience.
Which one?
The one about the no, not this one now. The working in the groups, different backgrounds, identity, perspectives.
You have now
Explain a
this Nigeria.
situation where
Even people from different countries. I'm sorry, different cities in Nigeria, Igbo, Yoruba. You don't have to say they're Igbo,
okay.
Yoruba. You understand? It's still experience, but obviously it's good to have more global. So if you have only like Nigerian experience, like working here in Nigeria, there are people who come to Nigeria that are not from Nigeria. You talk about it,
Yeah.
like, okay, you work with this person, you work with that person. Some people don't really remember, but there's no how you've been in this country. It's a different thing if you're in a remote country or a remote city. I'll say, okay, maybe. But if you've been in this Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, you would have come across at least working with somebody else that is not Nigerian. How are you able to work with them to actually achieve a goal? And it doesn't have to be anything big. It's just how, even if it's basketball, like, did you play basketball with some other people? How are you able to bring that team together? It doesn't have to be a fickle things. Do you understand what I mean? It can just be basketball. It will show team building skills and stuff like that. So bring out those skills in when you're communicating your response.
Okay, I think I've just been trying to do a lot of remembrance, just trying to remember different things that can really play out. But thank you so much.
No worries.
I mean, I'll definitely bring my application by your table once I'm done.
Okay,
thank you so much. All right, good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Safe trip. We'll be enjoying Morocco through your eyes.
No wahala. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions, so I'm going to call it a day. Okay, someone is saying they would like me to help. That's fine. Review the application. Just send me a message on Instagram and I will respond to you. Okay, someone is asking if they can have access to this session. I'll share it on our app. I'm not sure if it will be clear enough for us to put it on YouTube, but I'll try. But it was an open session, and I really want more and more people to come up with like good professional applications. So I'll see if we can put it on YouTube, but if it's not on YouTube, it will definitely be on our app for our community members, so they can easily just go on the app and watch the replay. And I would imagine all of you here have downloaded our AJS Tribe app. It's free. We have a free version where you have access to grants, different opportunities, and stuff that can take you, your business, or your career to the next level. So if you haven't already downloaded our app, just download it. And if you're thinking of making more with your money, doing more with your money, we have loads of partners on our app that give our members up to 30% off, from the likes of Adidas to Eco Hotel to LG to restaurants, just different brands that are useful to people, and you get up to 30% off. So join our community today. People are still joining this call where we're about to finish. Okay, I think we're done. I don't see any new questions. So I'm just going to call it a day. So thank you all for joining. I really appreciate you guys. I know that I literally just posted mine today, but we had been sharing it on AJS Tribe, on our AJS Tribe platform. So thank you all for joining. I know many people are busy and many people are probably even still at work, but thank you all for taking time out, and I wish you good luck. And I can't wait for you guys to come back with your testimonials that this session was useful and you actually got in and all of that. So good night, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Mom.
I'm not Mao. You people want to call me an old woman before I'm old. Please, I'm still a baby girl, I beg.
Good evening. Good evening, Ma.
Hello. Hi, Mary. We saved
Yeah.
my day.
Thank you for the session. It was really
No
insightful. Although I
worries.
just thank you.
No worries. Thank you.